I started Visio Tech at Baylor Hospital, and I had a friend come.
You started in the hospital?
I started it in the hospital.
In the hospital. Wow.
In the hospital.
Okay.
I had my husband. I told him, I said, "Hey, we're gonna turn this hospital room." At nighttime, it was the date, so we would watch Game of Thrones together, and during the day, it was my office. The backdrop of Baylor is downtown Dallas, so it looked like I was in a high rise.
Welcome back to L.I.T Chicks Podcast. Woo woo! It's your girlfriend and Alicia.
Makaye, the other lit chick.
Welcome. We are giving it back and paying it forward. We are diving into some real conversations, and today's conversation is going to be all the way lit. Let me tell you, we are super excited. Our guest today, she just doesn't break barriers. She redefines what is possible. She's a strategist and an innovator and founder building tech that serves communities differently and in a better way. With an MBA and a suite of credentials and awards, and I've given out some of those awards to this sister, she's lived an experience that fuels every idea, and she's on a mission to make sure that the future is more accessible and equitable for all. At the tender age of 5, she kind of had a diagnosis that led her to a journey and tremendous challenges and changes, including blindness and multiple transplants. So she has experience and is the epitome of resiliency and innovation. She's the founder and CEO of Visio Tech, advancing products and concepts that uplift people with different abilities. I think she says people with disabilities, but I like to call it with different abilities. And she's been spotlighted in several magazines and awarded tremendously across the Dallas area and across the nation. So she's talking to us and joining us to talk about her blended life experience, and with her heart and her head, she's just got this unstoppable spirit, and I love being in her presence. So we humbly welcome Tiffany Martin. Podcast. Woo woo!
Yay.
Thank y'all so much. That was good. I need to bring you on the road. Like, just open up.
No, Tiffany, so introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about what's happening in your world these days.
Oh, these days. I am enjoying life. After 2024 and the first quarter of 2025, it was just like a whirlwind, just all over the place. And so I really wanted to take time. I needed to graduate. That was important. I think my husband was like, if we go one more class, I'm gonna get this degree myself. But just spending time with family and him. And once I took that break, I want to say in August is when I really hit the road again, like hard, and made my first stop at SquadCon and Black Girls Hack, their annual cybersecurity conference, and spoke about accessibility in cyber and how that, rarely gets talked about. And then I, made it to the Grace Hopper conference and ended at the Hope Bryant conference in Atlanta, and did a lot of traveling in between there, just, partnering, making connections, and just putting people with disabilities, professionals and tech professionals specifically with disabilities out in the forefront and having the conversations that we just historically have not had. Mm-hmm. And I took another little break. I am making it a purpose to take that paid time off for myself, and just did a reading retreat, and just consume myself with, knowledge on AI governance and socio-tech theory, so I can get a deeper understanding and move more into research, because I think that's really important right now. And came out of that break, and it's been busy ever since. The first 3 weeks of this year have just been back to back to back.
So you said a reading retreat. Is there anything you would recommend to our listeners that we start to read?
There's so many. Brave New Words by Sal Khan. He's the guy over Khan Academy.
Okay.
And just learning how AI is really influencing the K through 12 space. I'm doing a lot in that space right now. So I wanted to see, from other people's, perspective, and how it's evolving and how they're balancing that line, between responsible AI and pedagogy and so forth. And Coded Gaze is really good. Unmasking AI by Dr. Joy Bulawami. I love that book. And just how she is informing, everybody about just their rights when it pertains to facial recognition, how important that is right now, and taking ownership and getting, more well equipped as surveillance is becoming a thing now, with AI. The one I just finished, since we had our little snow in here in Dallas, was The AI Mirror by Shannon Valor. And that was a
Okay.
really good read. I suggest everybody take a look at that. So,
All right, so you've just dropped some golden nuggets that we'll make sure end up in the show notes on those four book recommendations. So thank you for sharing that,
mhm.
and I love the fact you took a reading time out this weekend. Definitely was time to sit on the couch and have a good read, um, with the downtime.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have a question for you, Tiffany, because I
Okay.
know that you are jumping into AI, and a lot of young people really don't understand, how they can use AI in their everyday life, and they don't really understand how it really impacts them. So, what's one thing that you wish every college student or early career professional would understands about AI before trusting it with their data, their education, or their future opportunities?
AI, what it is an assistive tool. It is supposed to augment and not replace. And that's in every facet. If you look at it from a job perspective, it is, to me, I do not believe it's supposed to replace workers. It is supposed to, optimize what they do and augment and enhance what they already possess. If you, and this is just me, if you do mediocre work, AI will just, it's not going to expand on that mediocrity. You're just going to have a lot of mediocre work. So, and then with students, do not rob yourself of the learning journey. You can utilize it to, gain a deeper understanding. And I do, I have to work with cognitive load, being blind, and, I'm hearing things all the time. And so I have to, find different tools that I can use to kind of ease all of that information that I'm getting. And so I use it to synthesize, notes, or if I want to go deeper, or, use it as a reference to look for more references. It is not answering the questions for me. It is not the end all be all. You need to double check and triple check in some cases, but
Mhm.
use it as a tool.
Mhm. No, I agree that AI is always a tool, and it is not the mainstay. It is the enhancer or what accelerates things.
Hmm.
And the work that you're doing, because and I love the fact that we're aiming this really at students, because our podcast goal is to really touch the next generation who are in tech, right?
Hmm.
So accessibility is key for you. And
Hmm.
I will tell you, in my 30-year career in tech, it was always an afterthought. Do you think that has shifting and changing now? And as young builders are out there today, what's the one thing they should change, or where should they start when they think about accessibility first, or how do they blend that in when they're building technology today?
In tech, we've always looked at it as, just a compliance check.
Mhm.
And when we do it as such, we're not thinking design first.
Mhm.
And it's one of those things that if you move it to, just a checkbox, you only get to it when you need to. And typically when that happens is some legal ramifications following that. And so you have to look at it from a global perspective. If 20% of the global population has a disability, and in America that goes up to 25%, from a business perspective, you're alienating yourself from a significant portion of your consumer base. And so what I'm trying to get people to understand is it just makes for good business. It's not just a good thing to do.
Mhm.
And so when I talk about accessibility, I really lean into what's known as the curb cut effect. And that comes from Angela Glover Blackwell, in which everybody, walks on the sidewalk and there's that divot in the corner, but it's meant for people that use wheelchairs. But everybody uses it. We always go to the corner, press the crosswalk.
Mhm.
If
Yeah.
you are, with a child in a stroller, you use it. Got luggage, dolly, bike. everybody uses this unknowing, that it's for people with disabilities. Same thing with like closed caption. It is for people that are deaf and hard of hearing. But if I'm in the airport and want to watch something, well, not me, because I can't, blind. But if it's busy and loud, people that are sighted are using closed caption in order to get the information. And so that's how we should look at technology overall. You don't want to create barriers with something like tech. That's well, the internet in specific. That's not where Sir Tim Berners-Lee. That was not his purpose when he created, the World Wide Web. So
I like that curve effect, and I also like the example around the captions, because I love British shows, but I can't always understand the accent and what they're saying. So I'm
yeah,
leveraging it to help understand and put the story together. But I think your point is make it as mainstream as possible so it can be consumable for everybody, not just thinking about it's only can be used with different people with different abilities. It becomes mainstream, like the curve cut effect. I love that. I never heard of that. Had you heard that, Alicia?
Mm-mm. No, I haven't. But the perspective that Tiffany, that you brought light on, it's true. It's a fact. We all use it.
All
yeah.
use it.
And just even going back to the caption example, you're using it in order to, understand different accents. Well, people who, English is not their native tongue, utilize closed caption in order to learn, a different language.
Right.
So there's multiple uses that we can get out of, making our products more accessible.
Yeah.
Tiffany, is it I was reading online that you became blind in 2016. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm actually, and this is not an anniversary I want to celebrate, but I am coming up on the 10 years
Oh,
in
oh,
April.
wow. Okay. And walk us, give us a little bit of background, because you have not been blind all your life.
No. Um, when I got diagnosed with diabetic retinopathy, it really was something that happened overnight. I was at the time in digital marketing. I was traveling like all over the place, overseas, domestically. And I woke up one morning in September. I had ended up staying at my parents' house for whatever reason. I can't remember. Maybe just to crash and steal all of their food. But I woke up and the entire left side of my eye was red. And I just remember screaming for my parents, and my dad is like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "I can't see." And we went to the doctor's office and they said, you're experiencing the early ages of diabetic retinopathy, and like blood vessels just burst and my retina was starting to detach.
Mm.
And that was in September. By April of the next year, I had undergone 8 surgeries total, 4 on each eye, and they were painful. That was a pain I don't think I ever could reach, and I don't ever want to experience again. But not only did I lose my sight after that time, but I also ended up on dialysis.
Mm.
And it was just a catastrophic uh, period. I retreated. I was bedridden because a lot of the medicine that I was taking did not react well to my body. So I lost the ability to walk, and being bedridden for like a year. My sister had gotten engaged during that time, and it was I just stepped away. I didn't touch a piece of technology for a year, and I really had to work myself back into just a normal way of life. And I really contribute that to my family, the friends that stayed, and he was my friend at the time, but he became my boyfriend, and then later my husband. But it was really them that got me through that moment. And my parents was adamant about me regaining my autonomy back,
Mhm.
and getting a better quality of life than what I was experiencing at the time.
Was diabetes tied to this
It
degenerative?
was.
Okay,
It
okay.
was. It was just poor management, and I can't contribute that to my parents because they stayed on top of it. But it was really those rebellious teenage years, and then when I was out in college and on my own, not taking care of myself, partying a little bit too hard, and then from college you're out into the world and traveling all over, and it really was just poor management. So
I was just going to ask, so how did this change your perspective on technology?
it was for me because I was an avid texter. looking at the screen, and each and every day just is getting blurrier and blurrier and darker. And to one point, I just can't use it anymore. I didn't get any vocational training, which for low vision and blind, people, there's training out there that teaches you how to use technology. I hadn't got to that point yet. I was trying to come out of depression. It was just isolating, not having technology around. But a person at my church ran into my dad, and they had a child that also had disabilities, and gave my dad all of this educational information. Her name is Angela Tuff. And actually, if you go look her up, she actually won an award from President Obama. She stopped a massive shooting from happening out in the South. And so she was the one that gave my dad this information. And he came back home and he was like, I got something for you. We're going to get you back. And once I did get a kidney and a pancreas. And shortly after that, I went right into training, and I learned, I was a Mac user, but I had to go back to a PC. And I don't say that, reluctantly. I enjoy it, but I went back to a PC and learned JAWS, which is a screen reader. And what it does is it reads everything on the screen. And as I'm typing, it'll let me know the words that is being typed out, and I can navigate everything strictly with the keyboard. And my trainer, I said, well, how long does it typically take you to train people? And they said, about a month, about a month to 6 weeks. I said, I'll do it in 2. And he said, okay, we'll see. And I did it in 2. And from there, I said, just give me more. And they just started coming in, teaching me how to use my phone, my iPad, all of these things, so I could just navigate. And right now in my home, everything talks. So, TVs and washing machines and Alexas, it's everywhere. But yeah.
So that talking to you, you talked about sensory overload. Is how do you get calm, or is the talking okay for you and it doesn't give you sensory overload?
I think it gets on everybody's nerves in my family more than it does me.
Okay.
Funny, and my mom is gonna kill me if she sees this, but she got me the AirPods, the new ones.
Yeah.
And she's like, put them in your ear so I don't have to hear your phone anymore. And I'm like, oh, it gets on your nerves. But for me, I do have to step away because, reading a book, reading emails, on calls all day, it is just, I am on a device nonstop. And so I have to plug everything off at night. And just, I'll sit in silence for a while. And when I say a while, maybe an hour or 2, and just think, process, just ease my way into, relaxing. But it can be, overstimulating a lot. So.
Hey, when you made this transition, I just sit in my mind and think about if my world went dark after however many years, of seeing. I have a couple of questions because I think you're just so fascinating, right? One, because you are heavily in tech, which is a visually obsessed, right, industry,
Yeah.
right? How are you building without being able to see and use technology? But the question I really have is, did everything become every other sense become sharper? Or were you leaning on, well, I can't see it, but I know what a screen looks like. I know what a car looks like. I know what a sunset looks like. What was going on in your mind as that went to black for you?
I love this question. Everybody's like, did you turn into Daredevil? No, I did not. And they're like, did your senses get heightened? And I'm like, no. But what happens is all of my other senses got focused. So with my hearing, they're like, oh, you have such a keen sense of hearing. It's like, no, it just becomes more focused because I have to. So, if I'm in a room, listening to a panel discussion, I have to focus in on that and kind of zone everything else out. It doesn't become heightened. It just, it's when you start removing things off of a picture, you start to focus in on on a key element. And that's literally what I'm doing with my hearing. So it's one of those things that took some time. Because at the beginning, it was just like, I'm experiencing psychosis. It's so much sound, going on. And I'm getting my days and my nights mixed. And that was, a really hard adjustment. But once I did get back, get a rhythm going, got back into, work, I realized, it's not me that necessarily has a disability. It's the world, because between myself and the world, one of those things can change the condition. And I realized that accessibility, I have to preach it, but I shouldn't, because so many people need it and so many people can benefit from it. And one of the most least accessible spaces is the internet. And so, navigating through and trying to learn, and even with the screen reader, it only works as best as the site is made accessible. And so that required a lot of, me getting out my shell and being, confrontational in some sense, and letting people know, like, hey, your site is not accessible. I'm trying to make a payment, an important one, and I can't because, you mislabeled something. The semantic structure of your website is not, done correctly. It's timing out before I can get, press submit. There are just simple things that we can do from the beginning that will help and not be so expensive on the end. And that's what the problem is. I think with, tech in general, they think that accessibility is expensive. Yeah, it does become expensive when you don't build it from the beginning. You have to redo an entire site, as opposed to, hey, let's make it accessible as we are designing and building it out and doing our wireframes and so forth.
That makes 100% sense. Changes at the end are always more expensive in a technology initiative versus building in ethics, building in accessibility, right? All from the beginning, and then it doesn't become an added expense.
Yeah.
Tiffany, I have a question for you. So, okay, so you actually had to transition yourself to becoming an a independent person all over again. How was it natural for you to become an entrepreneur after this? Like, was that an aspiring goal prior to, or you just said, hey, this is a need that I see this out there? Like, take me into now starting your own company, Visio Tech. And I don't even know if it's your own company, so please correct me.
It is, yeah.
Take me into the entrepreneurial journey and moving from having to find a whole new way of life. And now you out here being leader, boss lady.
Yeah, I've been a hustler all my life, and I say it that way because that's how people, address me and so forth. When I was a kid, 12, I had started a little marketing firm. I learned Word really good, and I knew people needed business cards and brochures. And so I would make them on Word using the templates and everything. And I had this company. It was called Twice as Nice. I don't know why I called it that, but that was my very first stab at jingles and taglines and so forth. But that was done. And then when I got older, I call it a hustler's degree, but I did get my undergrad in business, in entrepreneurship as a focus. So I'm one of those rare cases where I actually worked my degree. But I did do a 9 to 5 and a 5 to 9 for a very long time. And my very first business that I did, which is the parent company over Visio Tech, is called Jansen Co. And I was doing business management at that time. And my very first contract, when I was 21, landed me and my client over in Europe, in London. And I was like, I might have something. I might not be the best, but I might have something here. And I just, went in and as many jobs as I could, 9 to 5. I've done a plethora of jobs. I worked in security. I worked in nonprofit. I worked at a marketing agency, advertisement, and so forth. And did that all the way up until I got married. And in 2019, I had started Visio Tech because I was in the hospital. And I had spent so much time. My kidney had failed. And so I was back in the hospital at 2019, right after I got married to my husband, 2 months to be exact after we got married. We thought it was a pregnancy, went in, and they were like, no, you're experiencing kidney failure. And for that next year, we were back and forth in the hospital. And so I sat there and I'm like, well, if I can't bring a child into the world, I need to leave something behind that'll help everybody else. Even if I don't see it, I just need to leave something and start it. And I started Visio Tech at Baylor Hospital. And I
Wait,
had a friend
wait,
come
wait.
in.
You started in the hospital? You
I
started the
started
company
it in the
while in the
hospital.
hospital.
In the
Wow. Okay.
hospital. I had my
Amazing.
husband, I told him, I said, hey, we're going to turn this hospital room. At nighttime, it was the date. So we would watch Game of Thrones together. And during the day, it was my office.
I love it.
And
Wow.
I started the company. I had a friend come in and I'm just spitting off ideas. And she created my original website. And I held my first client meeting. I had my husband bring in a polo shirt. And I asked my nurses, I'm like, can we take these IVs out? I just need 30 minutes. And they said, we'll do it. And the way he set me up in my hospital room, the backdrop of Baylor is downtown Dallas. So it looked like I was in a high-rise office. And as soon as I finished the meeting, I didn't realize that I had a surgery that day. So as soon as I clicked off, they are ripping stuff off, plugging me back in, and wheeling me out of the room. And that's how I started it. And 7 years later, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. In 2023, I got encouraged to go back to school. And I went to some, applied and, had some challenges with some schools because they were more concerned with ability. And I landed at Baylor, ironically. And what was so crazy about it, during that time, I had gotten a kidney from my friend the year before. And I told her, I said, I'm going to do everything that I can now that I got this second lease on life. And I actually graduated last year on the anniversary of me getting that kidney donation.
I
And
love it.
so it's just
Wow.
a full circle, moment. And right after that, went right into research and teaching. And I have been doing that with Visio Tech since. So.
We're gonna add some cheer and some balloons
Yes.
celebration.
All of
Taylor
it.
had you in the hospital for a minute, then you went back and they got you educated and got you on your way. You launched your business. I don't know. You might have a long-term relationship with Baylor. Just saying.
Listen, I'm hoping one day to get a PhD. I'm hoping that will happen and that I can go into teaching. And I'm like Baylor, and I told them when I left, I'm gonna come back somehow. I don't know how, but I would
Okay,
just
so
love to do
so
something.
two things. Baylor, we're talking to you, Baylor. Baylor, you need to be sponsoring Tiffany Martin for her PhD. Okay, and then our other PhD, Miss Alicia Mackay, can tell you the roadmap because she is a
I
PhD.
can.
I know. Look, and I know that schools typically don't hire, I have to, let me go get my PhD somewhere and then come back to Baylor.
Baylor sponsor.
Yes.
We're gonna put this into into existence. Baylor,
Right.
Baylor sponsor.
Look,
Right.
just hire me one day. Just hire me one day. Yeah.
Tiffany, you got a Baylor song. What's that young lady that came up with that song and she got a $2 billion contract because she pulled out a theme song
Oh,
for
it
an
was
organization.
that was
Am I
just
in the wrong business right now?
shoot.
It was Dr.
We could do
Pepper.
the Baylor dance. We could add in if we don't have copyright infringement. We could add the Baylor song on this.
Yes.
Look, the
intro
fight
outro.
song.
We love Baylor. We love Baylor. Woo woo. Sponsor Tiffany. Hello.
That's
Look.
right. First of all, let me just stop and put a plug in it because we're talking to young people on this. That's the audience. So young people. Now listen, if you got any excuses, we now have moved all barriers out the way. Because if Tiffany can do it in the hospital room, come on, future entrepreneurs.
Right.
Future IT professionals, career professionals, we got somebody that we are now showing you that is she is not only a witness, but she came back to give us a testimony.
So, what's the biggest reaction you get when people who haven't met you and they find out you're legally blind? What's the first craziest, weirdest reaction you've gotten so far?
You for real blind? Yes. Like I'm like, what, you think I'm just, walking around with my eyes closed, but no, yeah, it's one of those. And to me, I'm like, it's just normal. It's just normal. My family treats everything normal. Like me and my husband, are out and he'll crack a joke or he'll just walk off and they're like, oh my God, your husband left you, or I'm like, he's joking. It's, but I think once we have the conversation, because I go into a lot of different rooms. There are some rooms and they just pun intended, overlook me. And it isn't until somebody else, acknowledges that they're intrigued, and then they learn, and then they want to engage. And I'm like, well, keep the same energy you had, before. But
Right.
it comes with the territory. I had to realize very early on that I might be an anomaly in some cases. They might have had an interaction with somebody that's independent with a disability, and it is many, many, many of us out there. But I know that I'm blessed. I know that, my living situation and my family and support systems have put me in a position to where I can enter into these rooms that have historically left us out. I have friends, like I love to shout out like Rebecca Skeet from Black Girls Hack. She made this incredible statement, and she did a speech and brought a folding chair, and she was just like, it's not enough just to bring the chair to the table. She said, but you need to bring another one for you and for somebody else. And she's done that numerous times. Saki Milton with the Gems Camp. She was the one that I met when I was a high schooler long, long time ago, and it was like, you're going to get into STEM. And I'm like, okay. And even when, I first went into college and deviated and went into, entrepreneurship and started focusing on marketing, I ended up back in STEM. So it is really important that you find mentors and people. And I'm just blessed to have, African American women and women of color that like have poured into me and have really lifted me up. So
I love that. I think that touches our heart. Don't want to speak for you, Alicia, but I know it touches mine. I think it's so important that we, Black women, support each other and pour into each other. So I love to hear that you had that as you were navigating these waters and making a way for you. So that touches me in the head. I'm pointing to my head, touches in my heart, and then I feel it in my gut. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, absolutely, Tiffany. We are absolutely so appreciative of you just sharing your story with us. It's very inspiring. But it also, I think, to the core of your story really tells us, what you said that was so just pivotal in this conversation. You said, I need to leave something behind that can help other people. That's what we're about, and just not only your story, your life is a complete testimony to all of us in the community. We're all out here. We all have our perspective lanes that we operate in individually, but collectively, there we are a serious, powerful group of people that can really, not only just rise ourselves, but rise each other up. And I think you've really shown that on this call. Thank you for giving shouts out to your community on this call. To Black women, I ditto everything y'all say. Y'all, if anybody doesn't know, I'm coming out of a whole breast cancer situation where I was diagnosed, and it was Black women that held me up and held me down.
Survivor.
Yes.
Yep. And so really, put that fire to keep going. Like you got something left in you. Let's keep going. Let's get up. And so we definitely understand what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The fire within us is real. And Alicia, you have been through the journey. Tiffany, you've been through the journey. I think we've all been through a journey physically, and it's challenged us mentally, our faith, our family, our friends. But I love the fact that still through it all, we want to lift others as we climb, and we want to make sure that we're giving that back. So your story is special, and you are tremendously special, Tiffany, and you've won a ton of awards, and we'll continue to break barriers with awards. You're going to be, when I Google, in another 2 minutes, when I Google, or when I chat GPT your name, they're going to be like the baddest ass blind entrepreneur.
I'm going to get that on a t-shirt. Just
Claude, you hear me, Claude? Claude's my boyfriend. Claude, you hear me? I want her name, Tiffany Martin, the baddest ass Black tech exec blind. Like, I believe in like putting it into existence.
Yes,
so
absolutely. We are cheering for you. We are your cheerleaders now.
No, I appreciate y'all so much. That's good.
All right, so we're going to do our lightning round. So this is now where we have a couple of quick questions. You get to, I told you the first one. So now I got to throw in something else. I'm gonna think about it really quick. Okay, hold on, let me type it in. Let me type in my notes. So, okay, R&B, hip hop, or jazz?
Ooh, jazz.
Oh, okay. I wasn't expecting that. Collard greens or cornbread, girl? Collard greens or cornbread?
Hot water cornbread.
Ooh, hot water cornbread. Okay. Travel by plane or travel by car or boat?
Plain.
Okay.
Yeah, simple.
All right. Whiskey or wine?
Oh, oh.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go with wine.
I
That was a hard one.
That was a hard one? Okay. That was my last one. I said I got to throw one in there because I gave you the first one. So I'm going to go with the wine as well. How about you, Alicia?
Whiskey or wine?
Yeah.
I neither.
She doesn't drink. Oh my
No,
God.
once I got my little diagnosis, I had to throw it up.
All right, so you're going for water. You're going for water.
Water or a what is it? A mocktail, a great mocktail.
Okay,
That's where I'm at.
okay.
Listen, I understand with my kidney now. When I do drink, I'm going to drink one glass, but wine is the healthier between the options. Now, if I'm gonna get whiskey, I like whiskey and coffee. But immediately after that, I am drinking a gallon of water.
A gallon of water.
For this kidney.
You know that wine is just fermented fruit juice.
There you go. It's just big people juice.
It's just big people juice, right? Big people juice. How can we find you? Where can we find you? Do you have any hooks? And where on social media can we get connected with you?
Online, our website is visiotech.co. Don't get confused with com, but Visiotech, visiotech.co. I live on LinkedIn. I am there every day. I am talking with other professionals. That's how I even came across you all, DFW, ATW.
Yeah.
And so LinkedIn is the best way. I also spend a little bit of time on Instagram. If I'm not posting the work that I'm doing, I'm posting my hubby or my niece and my nephew and my family. But you can reach me there at Tiffany Jansen. That's TiffaniJancyn.
Awesome. So you have all those ways to connect with you, but it sounds like she's living on LinkedIn. Hopefully you are too. Thank you for joining us. You've been a treat and so sweet. And we really appreciate you sharing your story and just being a part of us giving it back and paying it forward. And Alicia's point, like you young folks, no complaints.
None.
Thank y'all so much for having me. Like, I just appreciate y'all. This was lit. So
back to our audience, we would like to thank you so much for joining us for another episode of 2, now 3 Lit Chicks, Leaders in Tech. We appreciate you. We thank you. Stay L.I.T out here in these streets and stay tuned for more episodes.
All right, bye-bye. Thank you, Tiffany.
bye.
Thank you for joining us today. Listen, like, subscribe at 2 Lit Chicks Podcast.
Remember, stay curious, stay bold, and always stay lit.
Woo-woo.